Going back to Project Binky, which I would imagine will taunt you until your grave in terms of never quite being where you want it to be.
It got to the point where we were like, if we do that, we will never, ever finish the Mini.
But you will never, ever finish the Mini.
No, well, but Project Binky, the series will end at some point.
Project Binky, the ambitious endeavor by Bad Obsession Motorsport to transform a classic Mini into a turbocharged all-wheel drive machine, has captivated car enthusiasts worldwide. Launched in 2013 on YouTube, Nick Blackhurst and Richard Brunning hooked fans with their wild engineering and humor. However, after 39 episodes, updates stopped, leaving fans searching for answers. Did Project Binky crash and burn? Has it been cancelled? Let's dig into what really happened to the masterpiece that kept fans glued for over a decade. We really can't talk about what happened to Project Binky without knowing how the project came to life. Well, it all started with a plan to turn a rusty old Mini Cooper into a fire-breathing four-wheel drive monster with a Toyota Celica heart. To many, this might sound odd, but to the gearheads, it is doable. And that is exactly what British petrol heads Nick Blackhurst and Richard Brunning did. Now, this might seem simple, but the project was more than just stuffing the Mini Cooper with a powerful engine. It was a massive, years-long adventure that turned into a global hit. To fully grasp what the project entails, let's take a moment to discuss the people, the cars, and the moment that sparked it all. The masterminds behind Project Binky, Nick and Richard, are two friends who run Bad Obsession Motorsport, a small car shop in Shropshire, England. Now, for those who are not in the loop yet, the duo isn't just random guys with a wrench. They've got some serious skills up their sleeves. Both Nick and Richard have spent years working on automobiles, including race and rally cars. Nick raced karts, while Richard competed in Formula Mazda racing in the US before returning to the UK. With vast experience in the racing industry, they started Bad Obsession Motorsport together in 1992, focusing on wildcar builds and rally prep. Fortunately for the duo, Bad Obsession Motorsport was a resounding success, and the thoughts of Project Binky started to creep in. Let's just say Nick and Richard were tired of the regular car shows that rarely showed the real work of building a car. They wanted something different. Something detailed, authentic, and fun. So, they decided to build one of the fastest Minis ever and document every step of the process for the world to see. Now, the question is, why a Mini Cooper and not a regular race car? You see, back in the day, Minis were famous for rallying, but their little engines only made about 50 horsepower. However, Nick and Richard wanted way more power, and that's where the Toyota Celica GT4 comes in. The racing OGs would agree that the Toyota Celica is a rally champ. Although it's from the early 90s, it features a turbocharged 2-liter engine generating around 200 horsepower plus all-wheel drive. Simply put, the GT4 is a beast. Way too big for a Mini, but that's exactly why they chose it. They love taking on challenges. To kick things off, Nick volunteered his rusty Mini that had been sitting unused for years. The GT4 wasn't some random pick either. It was a car Nick had owned years before and loved. So, the idea of bringing back the spirit of the car in a Mini felt somehow personal to him.
So this is a 1980 Mini 1000.
This is a Toyota Celica ST185 GT4. It's 2-litre, turbocharged, 200 horsepower and 4-wheel drive.
The actual project is to try and shoehorn the full engine, gearbox and running gear from my Celica GT4 into my rotten Mini.
Also, the GT4's rally pedigree matched their goal. The duo wanted Project Binky to be a street-legal rally monster that still looked like a Mini on the outside. The project kicked off in their shed at Bad Obsession Motorsport with no massive budget or a high-end workshop, just tools, skills, and an unwavering spirit. Before they even turned a wrench, they took precise measurements of both cars. At just 10 feet long, the Mini was significantly smaller, while the GT4's engine and drivetrain were designed for a much larger vehicle. Fitting everything into the Mini required extensive modifications, including custom fabrication and a complete redesign of its structure. Fast forward to August 17, 2013, they uploaded the first Project Binky video to YouTube, documenting the complete disassembly of the Mini down to its bare shell. Unlike mainstream car shows, the duo didn't hide any part of the process. They showcased every rusty spot and joked about how challenging the build would be. The first episode of Project Binky racked up 1.9 million views, proving that fans appreciated the authenticity. No scripted drama, just two guys tackling an ambitious build. Since the first upload on YouTube, the duo has covered some ground and uploaded 39 episodes. But after the last episode on 26 October 2024, updates have stalled, leaving fans curious. Nick and Richard initially thought Project Binky wouldn't take long, The duo even set a duration of 6 months, but the timeline quickly stretched beyond their expectations. So what happened behind the scenes? Why did the update stop? Is the project cancelled? Well, so far, nothing solid has been reported, but there are some factors they might have contributed to the slow update. One major factor is that Nick and Richard were not working full-time on Project Binky. Not many fans know that Bad Obsession Motorsport was the duo's day job. They build custom cars for a living, so they only squeeze in time for Project Binky in their spare time. Also, they have responsibilities outside of work. For example, Richard has a wife and kids. In a podcast, he revealed that being a husband and dad meant he couldn't just disappear into the shed every night. He mentioned that family time, like dinners or helping his kids, is a priority. With kids at home, Richard likely had to balance bedtime routines and school runs, leaving only late nights or weekends for the project. Family errands from both Nick and Richard's end probably slowed Project Binky down. Another factor that likely played a role in stalling the project is that the duo are not in a rush. You see, Nick and Richard don't see themselves as TV stars, they just want to build their wild ideas and move on to the next big thing. So unlike TV shows with tight deadlines, they are taking it one step at a time to get every detail right, filming as they went. That slow pace eventually became part of the charm. Fans called it slow TV. Additionally, a Reddit user revealed that Richard ran as a candidate for the Social Democratic Party in the UK's last general election. Although the user also mentioned that Richard didn't win, the preparation, interviews, and campaign must have taken lots of his time. This and other factors are probably the reason why Project Binky is taking too much time to complete. So, no, Project Binky is not cancelled. Of course, fans are curious about its fate due to long gaps between episodes. Episode 37 was released on December 18, 2021, followed by Episode 38 on April 29, 2021-2023, over 25 months later. Similarly, Episode 39 was released after a 2-year wait. The rumors of cancellation became a thing because of these delays. Some fans on Reddit forums have speculated that the long delays might be intentional, possibly to keep Patreon supporters contributing. However, there's no solid proof to support this claim. To calm things, Richard addressed the concerns on a podcast, confirming that they were actively working to finish the project. He explained that while progress has been slow, they are fully committed to completing Project Binky. Although there is no official timeline for when it will be completed, more episodes are definitely in the works. It is common knowledge that Bad Obsession Motorsport has always focused on precision rather than speed, which means each step of the build takes time. So, fans just need to be patient, as the team continues their slow and steady approach to ensure everything is done right before the Mini finally hits the road. No doubt the wait has been frustrating for some fans, but dedication to quality is what makes Project Binky special. The team has reassured fans that they are still pushing forward, and each episode brings them closer to the finish line. Once completed, the Mini won't just be another modified car, it will be a true engineering masterpiece.